Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your hosting guide, Zollin Ironshield, and today, my friends, we are going to check out some more RiseToWar content. Alright, we're going to cover another commander. A real quick review of a commander. I want to talk about Falgon today, alright? Falgon, we're going to look at, we're going to use that same nice little thing here in the corner, where you go and click on that and see recommended builds. What do you want to aim for? Again, I want to talk about, we'll look at the highest respect whale version of him and kind of what you want to aim for with skills and units and armor. But also I want to talk about what's a free-to-play build for good first new players, okay? We're going to move over there a little bit and let's just go ahead and grab this first one here, this Falgon. This is a fine representation, so we'll look at this one. All right, so Falgon is a leader, all right? That's the first thing you have to realize. He's a leader, and he needs to use dwarves, okay? So if you're not using dwarf units with Falgon, he's not going to really do that great. All right, so how does Falgon's abilities work? Let's cover his abilities first, all right? So let's go over to his ability tree real quick, all right? So I'm going to bring up his ability tree, all right? So here's Falgon. All right, so if you have him rank 1, right, to rank 2, you can have the Expedient, this thing right here, and allied units get a reduction in damage for every Dwarven unit present. What does that mean? Okay, that means you want to have 3 types of Dwarf units. You don't want to have a group of Dwarven Guardians with him. You want to have Dwarven Guardians, you want to have maybe Axe Throwers, and maybe the Goat unit. Or you could have, some people will do, the second tier Dwarven unit with the Axe Guardians and the Guardians, okay? So again, you can see all of them here. Some people will use the tier 2 one frontline unit with the Guardians. I'm trying to think of their name right now, the Shield Bearers. I think of their Shield Bearer. With the Axeman, or you know, if you have Depth Defenders or Iron Warriors, because you have the camp, or you're playing Erebor, well, there you go. You can have one of them be your other unit as well. Again, you can mix and match, but any of these 3. Technically, you could have all the melee units, but you really don't want to be using tier 1 units, ideally, ever, especially endgame. Early game, you're going to have to, obviously, but endgame. Talking, and then, of course, this defense stacks up a lot, right? For physical damage reduction by a lot when you have it maxed for each allied dwarf unit. So that percent is times 3. And then when it's maxed, it gives you 15 speed. And then let's just run through it because this is supposed to be a really quick video. Really, firing formation, very simple. Your melee units take less damage. Your ranged units do more damage. Wonderful. And that does work for anyone. That is not just dwarves. The problem is you have to have all the points in this. That's why you need to have dwarf units. Well prepared. Counter melee thing, great if you have a bunch of melee units for him. He has the musician tree, which many of the dwarves have. It's a great tree. It's really, really good. A lot of people underestimate this. It also helps take tiles early if you don't have high respect on a character or have dwarf units to start with. So he can use other units that aren't dwarves if you just fully go into musician early. If you just don't have dwarf units, like right now I don't, because I'm doing the Kings of Men game mode, so I don't have dwarf units yet. I mean, I do, technically now, but when I started, I didn't, so I had to use some humans. So I just had to let the musician and help do some stuff with that. Durin's Blood, a lot of the dwarves have that. It's just a damage-dealing thing. He can actually deal a lot of damage, just like Ballin. Ballin's a good leader, but he can also dish out a pretty good amount of damage. But if you have tier 5, tier 3, you have to, Durin's Blood, tier 5, respect on him, he gets this. Thrane's Guards. He's, by the way, he is a media character for RiseToWar with the lore, but he's super cool. I love how he looks. Not to mention, can we just admire this beard for a moment? Look at his beard, dude. That thing's amazing. That thing goes down to his knees. Like, what in the world? What a boss. All right, moving on. Dwarves, first 6 instances of damage, they get a 20% reduction in damage. Allied dwarves damage dealt plus 24% after the previous effect expires. Effect modified by might. So what does that mean? They take a lot less damage for the first 6 instances of boom boom damage they do. After that, the rest of combat, dwarves damage is 24% increased. It's really good. All right, so then he's also got defensive stance. What basically deal physical damage, 40 physical damage, and one of your allied melee units get reduction damage. These both scale with might, okay? So that's really good considering if you want to put into Thrane's Guard and Durin's Blood. But you could also just do Ered Luin Explorer with the last tree, and that's also really good. And then parry, your melee units take less damage. So he's all about, he's really strong. He's a very strong commander. All right, but now let's talk about a couple more things. Let's talk about this more whale character here. So you know about his abilities. So again, you can see his units down there. We already talked about. This guy has all 3 of the tier 3 Dwarven units. That's probably the ideal setup, unless you can get Iron Garrison Guards or the the Depth Miners. But let's look at some of the items this guy uses. So he's actually using his special item, which is a purple tier mithril item. It's actually good just level 1. I'm actually planning on getting it just to literally have it 1-starred, okay? Because its stats are actually pretty darn good. It's like 1 HP, and it's just really good. Also, all allied units damage reduction and melee units damage reduction range dealt increased, and they get for each Dwarven. So basically, just at the level 1 version, it's really good. It's like 1.5. But this guy has some points in it, some refines. So anyway, it's a really good item to use on him. If you don't have that item, another gold item that could be really good on him is Erebor's Pride, the necklace, with a lot of the ones that would work good on it. Also, you could just use some kind of might item, purple item. If you're free to play and you just have a nice purple item, that would work good on him. That could be good too. We could look at a few different versions. Look at the end here. So might, focus, and attack range. Okay, so +3 attack to his ranged units. This is really a good one because it gives the might and focus. Because if he's using focus, he does get scaling focus, obviously, on some of the healing things. But it's kind of more just to defend your units. He's just doing that. He wants that +3 attack. And first 3 rounds against enemy melee units, damage received, basically making him even tankier in the first 3 rounds. Remember, his Thrain's Guard does a similar thing, but it's more powerful. So you're getting it, basically, you want your Axe Throwers to do a ton of damage. That's the goal. And then he's got this, Durin's Plate. It's the ideal thing to have for him. HP, attack, might, and damage reduction for your dwarves. It's so good. I have a similar thing on my one character, but about the same level of refines as this guy. The Mattock of the Iron Hills is a great one for him. It gives attack to your dwarves. Again, what he's looking for is attack increase for dwarves or ranged units, because he wants his axe throwers to hit like a truck. And you can see he's got those bonuses on there, and they're like, whew, they're strong. And it also gives might. So these are the ideal first 4 rounds. Allied commander's physical damage dealt makes him do more damage too in the first 4 rounds. Because remember, Thrain's Guard makes his units do a little less damage early, but more later. So he's still got some points in Durin's Blood Whirlwind, so he can do some damage with his leader early, which is probably the ideal setup. So that's about it with that. So now let me just tell you a few items that would work good for him. Here's my Falgon. Okay, here's what I've got on my Falgon right now. I have this item, Durin's Plate. Okay, again, it's almost actually, I just realized it's identical to what that guy had, even with refines. Okay, take it back, I have that. I stuck this on him for now to give him the +3 attack range and allied range units damage dealt increase because of the axe throwers once I have them on there. The focus, not so great. That's why that other guy had that helmet that had might on it too. Another good item that you could put on him could be this item. They get more speed, but still not probably the ideal item. This could be good too, Heathline, just to give a little might, focus, and HP to your army. But again, you kind of want that early wombo damage, or something like this. Again, here is my Erebor's Pride. That could be good and increase damage to the dwarf. But again, I really like this Wizard's Fire just because I don't have anything else right now, because it will increase the damage of my axe throwers, both the buff and the range. So if you're a free-to-play player, another good item is Warhammer for him. He gives him a ton of might, gives your dwarves defense, your dwarves do more damage, okay? Great purple item. This is something you could do as a free-to-play player after 1 or 2 seasons. You should be able to have a maxed out purple item for all 4 of your purple items. It's possible, no problem. This one's good. The only reason I'm using this one right now is because it does help your goats if you have the goats on him for the mounted units, and it gives might and speed, which is nice. But I'm really for the madness. He's helping me take tiles right now, so there's a lot of Grimas out there that'll just mess up your army. You lose so many troops if you don't have menace immunity for those first 2 rounds, so that's why I'm using it. But another good item is something like what Gimli has here, and maybe a different ability on it. And that one's okay too, or maybe just something like this, just flat might with damage reduction. Again, this one isn't maxed out, so it's actually better than it's showing. It's at 50% familiarity on Dane. You could just look for might, HP. It really just depends on what you want. I also, this is one, again, your goals are to look for might, right? He stacks with the might, and also you want to increase the defenses of your HP or attack of your dwarves. That's what you're aiming for. You're just trying to work with all of his crazy dwarven buffs. That's your goal. All right? So, boom. Speaking of that, I'm going to upgrade that. So, hopefully that helps you guys out. Falgon is a super cool commander. I actually really like him. I love how he looks. I think it's cool that his item is actually the shield he's holding. Of course, a lot of the characters do that, but it's really, really cool. And again, it's not too hard to get with the task once you get him rank 10. But my Falgon is rank almost 13. I actually put a lot of work into him. Then I was a little disappointed. I thought he wasn't very good. And then I realized he's actually pretty darn good. I just need to build him right. So hopefully that helps you out to know ahead what to look for. And have a great and wonderful day. Thank you to my Patrons for their support. Barukazad, Kuzad, I menu. And I'll see you guys all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Have fun, and have, you know, even if you don't have an epic beard like Falgon there, just realize you're all awesome. Barukazad, Kuzad, I menu. See ya.